right then. So is everyone ready?
Although, I should say, before we get started, it is worth watching for the Bozo Gang.
Yes, the Bozo Combat Encounter.
Uh,
That's what they use as an example. They have a solo and a net runner run up against a bunch of a clown gang
Bozo's
called the
patrolling
Bozo.
around the house, but because the cars are too close by, don't hear his squeaking shoes.
Yeah, that was pretty good. That was pretty fun.
Sergeant Pogo, the Bozo General or whatever.
Wait, Bozo as in Bozo the Clown?
Yes, they
it's
were gang members dressed up as clowns.
You remember how gangs are themed? Well, this
Yeah.
is a
Why?
gang of Bozo themes.
Yeah, trust me.
Well,
there's
yeah.
an official street gang in Night City called the Gilligans.
Jeez.
But that's what I said. Thematically, they don't hear his squeaking shoes as he's approaching the building because he's got the big
And
old
Mike
floppy
Pon-
shoes.
And apparently, Mike Pondsmith said that the reason that he put that in is because his wife is a fan of Gilligan's Island, so he just put a gang in there that dress up like members of Gilligan's Island.
Wow. That's less cyberpunk and what's more like the Warriors.
I mean,
Well, yeah,
it
that's
makes
part
sense.
of the
Like
aesthetic of what.
Sergeant Pogo is wearing was it leather or no, a metal hat and Kevlar vest underneath.
Metal helmet.
Yeah, metal helmet and
Yeah.
a Kevlar vest
fun.
underneath everything. It's like they're themed, but they're not dumb.
That's stupid. Like an HK, like a submachine gun. So, yeah, it's very interesting. His vision of cyberpunk is a very interesting take on it. All right, so let's get started. And welcome back to the Dark Future after our little hiatus. Sorry about last week.
no worries.
Oh, no. I mean, war comes first.
And so welcome back. And as we left off last week with a quick recap, our
Survive.
encounter trying to get information from the kid, and you guys stirred up some trouble down in the poacher's territory. Just
Well,
managed to
they came to make trouble. We didn't search for them.
Well, I imagine blowing the front entrance of a building in the middle of their territory.
Oh my
Well,
God,
probably
he
well,
has
walked
nothing to do
well,
with it.
and Henry got scared,
well,
and now we're
well,
moving
me-
off to move.
Me, I saw nothing. I didn't see any explosion.
And so,
Also,
yeah.
two unrelated events, of which these guys know nothing about.
There was just the sound of something exploding and a completely demolished corridor. There's no correlation.
You saw nothing.
As
Door
you
hanging
guys
off the
are
hinge. That was it.
as you guys are saying this to yourself, you managed to get back to your apartment. Later on that afternoon, Henrik, you get a text message from the reporter, Alestra.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna look at it.
And she says, I need to talk to you right away.
Face to face or by phone?
She says, just call me.
I'm gonna call her.
So you dial her up. She comes on the line. Listen, I can't talk to you right now, but I'm just going to give you a big heads up. I go, somehow they found out what you did downtown or wherever the combat zone area that you were in.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's really strange. I tried to submit my story today and they totally killed it and they went with this. So be on the lookout. It's going to be on in like 30 minutes. And then I'll give you a call back later because they're getting something's really weird happening here and I have to leave.
Sure. Stay
Clicks off
safe.
the phone. And she clicks off the phone.
Henrik is going to close his interface, and he's using the phone splice as he is everyone here. Since we're at the apartment, there's just me and Kitty.
We can say this is right after you guys come back from, so you're all back in your apartment, and you just have this call now. And so, like within 30 minutes, you turn on the TV. Actually, Kitty, you get the notification because you're flagging all the media and social media stuff. You start hearing the news, the whatever hashtags and the news headlines start popping up in your search feeds. And so you quickly turn it on to the local corporate news outlet. See is a bunch of reporters reporting that earlier this day, an individual identified as Henrik, who is a recently disgraced and canceled rock star, discovered terrorizing a poor neighborhood in a seedy part of town. And you see a quick flash over to a few other corporate. You know Kitty right away. These are like social media messages that these guys are posting, and it's basically the same three people that Alestra quoted you before, and they're just totally ripping into you. And so as they're describing all this, you see in the corner of the screen, sort of like in a picture-in-picture mode, you see an overview of the entire event from last night pieced together through different closed-circuit TVs and even through some optical feeds from Kitty you realize has to be from the gang members who attacked you. And it's expertly done. It literally highlights all of the worst moments that you guys had. It shows the front building getting blown up with Morte walking away from it all gangster style. It shows it shows you guys diving into the car, obviously in the worst possible angle, so it just totally looks like you guys are like buffooning it. And then it totally shows you weaving in and out of traffic, almost getting into several car heads every time. You see like the missed shot that Morte heads every other time. And so this is what's being circulated right now.
So this is from their perspective, some of the footage.
Yeah, some of the perspective is from there.
Wow.
You could tell Katie, you're like some of these guys had optical recorders and they submitted their feeds. A lot of the other it is like traffic cams and security cameras from nearby buildings that you guys were driving by.
Right.
And a couple of
plenty of information to work with though, because what I was going to ask is it possible from that footage to get more information on their vehicles, like their license plate, make, and stuff like that, and then try using that to track them back to wherever they are?
Not from this footage. If you wanted to go through a long, complicated business of hacking all the feeds yourself, you could give that a shot. But from this footage, once again, like I said, this is expertly done. This is not some dude slapping a serious production crew.
Right.
Made it so that it makes you look bad. It doesn't really quite identify who the people are. And the way the news reporters are reporting it, this is the quote unquote local security responding to a distress call. And what you discover is there was a clinic operating in that building, which has been shut down and moved out because of the incident that was providing free medical service to the community. At least that's what the reporter's saying.
Well, it looks like we missed our chance because of that explosion then.
And so interlaced between all this description and what happens, you see several corporate representatives from the individuals that I mentioned before, just completely lambasting Henrik, and calling him a fraud and saying, is this the type of hero the city needs? And, he's causing more harm than good. And what is it? This man's taking the law into his own hand. He's no better than the gangsters that he claims he's trying to protect us from. And so, and you get the general idea. So,
the news that they moved out is actually also more interesting. Because if they've chosen to move location after this incident, which is wise, then that could also have been caught on the cameras I'm going to have to get to give more information anyway.
Well, that's what they say. It might not be true.
Well, I mean, in the end, we might still have to end up going back to the scene of your crime here, but, well, we'll have to see what we need to do.
So after this short segment, you see basically a corporate commercial, and you see Henrik. You will be able to identify these as the two members of Deathbringer, the rival metal band who love to make fun of you. And so these two individuals show up on the screen in black, kind of like medieval type armor, but it's totally like bombastic and just overdone, and it just totally looks fake. doesn't look authentic at all. It just totally looks like they're wearing like stage costumes. Um, and so yeah, there's these two individuals. I will describe them for you. Well, these are guys that you have essentially competed with. Their name is Bracken Venn. Actually, I will give you the description of either of them in the chat, so you guys can get a gander of yourself. Just bear with me a moment.
Cool.
Yeah, well, Well, Enric would be like sitting on a couch, and he's watching the news as he crosses his arm, just looking.
I am looking over his shoulder and I'm like, yeah. So the whole thing was a setup then?
No, we drew too much attention before we got to do anything.
This is the first guy. His name is
At least
Bracken
I'm not
Venn.
assuming that kid was lying to us.
No.
And so this is the first guy. This is what you see. His name is Bracken Venn. Second guy. This is his information.
But there's no confirmation that maybe someone that was in the street when we arrive didn't call them.
And so, yeah, these guys are totally ripping into you, Henrik. He's like, this Hendrik guy, he claims he's a hero of the people. He's a total fraud. Look at him over there. Look at this little hitman coming out the building after blowing up a harmless clinic. He's like, what kind of hero is that? And so, once again, they're reusing the same footage that you just saw from the news agency. And whatchamacallit. So they're basically just aping what the newscasters were saying. They're obviously using much more colorful language. And so at the end of it, you would hear them, though, announce that, since they're always around to clean up Henrik's mistakes, that they, with some corporate sponsorship, have decided to open up a corporate clinic on the same site to give something back for real to the people. And so you'll see at the end of the clip, you'll see actually the same corner. The blown out building is now currently under construction. Henrik, or actually Muerte, you will know that some of the individuals who are now apparently in really sharp corporate security outfits were some of the gang members that you were fighting with in your escape. And so you see a big, free, corporate clinic. It actually says Tricom Clinical Care Center. That's the name of it. Tricom is one of the three corporations that is involved in this smear campaign against you, Henrik, in case you don't remember.
Well, it can be that easy, so...
And so, yeah, and then you see them in an obviously carefully choreographed and marketed, controlled photo op. You see your two rivals, ASIC and Bracken, standing in front of the clinic with a bunch of rather scraggly looking, ushering them in and signing autographs, and they got their little groupie section, and then you see them walk into their expensive limo, and then they scoot off. And now for sports.
I look at Muerte and go like, so what's on your mind?
I guess I don't know what your furniture situation in here is, Henrik. I saw him sitting on a chair of some sort, wrapping myself up with a bandage, saying, "What do you mean?"
I seen people take a strange face when they recognize things. Like you saw a ghost or something. Or something that stink.
Henrik, you get another phone call. It's from Kyrie, the kid that you went to talk to.
A lot of phone calls today.
Kyrie just got off the island.
Well, I answer.
And so it's Kyrie. You see his face, and as soon as he sees you, he goes, "Yo, man, what the hell just happened, man? Listen, I gotta tell you, man, it's really crazy out here. Listen, listen. He goes, um, why'd your boy blow up the Ripper dock across the street? He goes, I know he was working for the poachers, but he used to give out, free clinic to all the people in the neighborhood. Now he's all spooked because the spot's been blown. He goes, man, that was a really dumb move.
Look,
He goes,
okay. On my point of view, when we exit the building, there was, I think, if I remember right, 3 SUV, all, uh, well, bulletproof, and they were waiting for us. One of them had a rocket, RPG, and that's the one that exploded the clinic.
He goes, yeah, man. I was gonna tell you too, man. One of my boys from the front steps, he dimed us out, man. He's not working for the poachers. I didn't know about that. He must have dimed you out as soon as you walked in the front door. But listen, man, he goes, you see him like kind of looking back and forth and everything. He's like, I gotta get off the phone. I had to blow the spot too. I'm living up in my grandma's house in the corporate control sector, and there's all kinds of weird restrictions on who I can call and how long, and they monitor our phone calls. So I gotta check you later, man. Listen, I'll give you a call. But yeah, man, you gotta help me out. This place is weird. And then he hangs up.
Enric is going to lay back in the couch and just put his hand on his face as he look at the ceiling.
And so as this gravity of the situation sets in, I will remind at this point, Miguel, because of your little sales operation last night, you need to go back to your dealer to square up with him from the night before. And so you've gotten several pages during this time period, basically like, yo, man, when are you gonna come over?
All right. I just sent a quick message like TLDR, and I'll be there in a moment, blah blah. Usual spot, blah blah. Noodle shop in the corner, blah blah blah.
And Enric is going to ask Kitty if she can send a kind of text email to ASAC and Bracken to talk face to face.
I can try to arrange a meeting, but I highly doubt they'd want to talk to you face to face.
Oh,
and I'm sure it would also be a wonderful chance for the police to come ask you some questions too.
All right, so we're gonna quickly
nudge.
So as that scene ends, we're gonna quickly cut over to Miguel, who has to go and meet, his local dealer.
Yeah.
You take your normal way. Your dealer's a little paranoid. The routine about how you're supposed to, make sure you're not being followed, and we're, working to, doing the secret passwords. And so your dealer, his name is actually, I have to apologize. I thought I created a description for this guy. So just bear with me one moment while I create one. So many windows open. Oh, I was getting the wrong one. Here we go. So your dealer's name, Hal Markle. And let's give him an appearance. Good. That sounds interesting enough.
There we go.
And so as you walk into the room, you see him sitting there with a bunch of his cronies, and he goes, "Hey man, I saw the video, man. You should quit dealing and be a driver." You see a couple of the other guys kind of like chuckle.
Hey, listen, man, you gotta do what you gotta do. I'm
He goes, "Oh
alive.
man,
I'm
he
alive, and I'm
goes,
talking to you. That's all important. You see one of these yahoos drive that quickly when he's getting rocket up his ass.
He goes, "Listen, man, I don't like pissing off my customers, man, but like my aunt Jessie could drive better than that, man." He goes, and, a couple of other Chuck. He goes, seriously, for real, those poacher guys." He goes, "You lucky you got out of there with just a few bullet wounds, because those guys are no joke, man." He goes, "Remember what happened last month? We tried to move over to that section, man. How many guys did we lose on that push?" He goes, "Man," the other dude's like, "Man, I don't even want to hear about it." He goes,
Wait. You already tangled with these guys?
"Oh yeah, man, I'm constantly moving. I'm constantly looking for expansions." He goes, "But that side of town, man, they control that. They have that place super locked down." He
Let,
goes,
let
"Man,
me let me ask you something. Did you go in hard and fast, or did you try to be smart about it?
oh, I did it one way and then I did it the other way. I tried to put a couple of guys out there. I was trying to expand my operations. I wasn't trying to do, like conquer territory. When I realized that these guys were like the heavy hitters of the zone, I tried to cut them into a deal, man. Like I said, I got guns and everything, but I'm more of a businessman. I'm not a fighter. You know what I'm saying? But
Mhm.
these guys apparently they're running with some other dudes up there. Apparently they had a better deal than I could ever offer them. So that's when I decided, okay, F those guys. Ain't nobody telling me how to run my business. So I got a few guns. I hired a few extra dudes. I tried to muscle in on their territory. Man, it was like World War VIII, man. It was like that movie last week. Crazy stuff. Man, I lost so much gear, and man, I just had to pull out of it. It was a total loss for me, man. Still pissed me off to this day.
So they're heavy hitters then.
Yeah.
I believe you, and I basically given the money that his cut is like
Let me
that's
ask you this, man. Why your boss got a hard on for them poachers?
no man, it's the job, man. It's a job. Don't
Uh,
don't ask questions. I mean, I'm not gonna bring trouble back to you if you don't ask any questions. The less you know, the better.
I was just gonna say, man, like the enemy of my enemy could be my ally. We could work together, maybe not just make business, but help
Yeah,
me, help you.
let me put it this way. These poachers are hardcore, but they're too
Oh,
hardcore. You know what I mean? They don't cultivate the ground. They don't really help people around. They mess with people too much. You gotta know how to accommodate yourself. You know what I mean? You do your thing, but you also take care of the neighborhood, so people got your back, that kind of thing. But these
hold
guys
on,
are
listen,
pushing.
listen.
These guys are
I,
pushing too hard, man, and they're pissing people off. And pissy people make phone calls. You know what I'm saying?
I totally understand that. I'm just saying, I'm just trying to run my business. I just,
Mm.
I just wish I had a way to get onto the negotiating table with those dudes. They apparently are super loyal to that drug dealer.
I'm thinking that he may be jacking them up in some way or another because those guys really were fast on the take.
Well, like I said,
You
man,
don't bring that kind of hardware just for a street sweep.
You know, I was thinking about this the other day. I fell into a little piece of information that, for the right people, uh, help you out in a little bit.
We caught off there,
Negotiate, that
man.
is.
So you got what do you got? Give me a sample. See what you know how this works. You give me a sample, and I'll tell you if I can connect you
Uh,
to the right person.
well, peep this thing out.
Hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? Me and my boys was down there the other. Well, not me. A couple of other boys was down by the local brothel one day. They just
Yeah, you
happened to hear
delegate. Yeah.
through. They just happened to hear through the grapevine, um, where this drug dealer keeps his crypto at.
Hmm.
Server is where he hides all his money. And right
Hmm.
now, I know that him and the poachers are set to do a big deal together. And if he don't come up with that money, deal. So if something happened to that server and that crypto, give me an
All right.
opportunity to come in like the white knight that I am and solve everybody's problems. And for that,
That
oh,
actually sound good. So what's the? Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So what are
Like
we
I
talking
said,
about? Window opportunity is big, small. We're talking a day, a
tonight
week, or we're talking tonight.
deals the deal's coming through tomorrow morning. You're gonna have to hit that server tonight. If you can knock it out, or make the money disappear,
Hmm.
happen. Then I could keep myself in a situation of availability, and the poachers will let me in. And then for that, I could tell you.
Okay, here I'm gonna. This is an address. This is a one-time thing you're gonna use only. Okay. Um, use it once. Put the info packet there. My associates are gonna look at it, and then they'll make a decision. Okay.
I totally understand what you're saying. He's he waves one of his guys over who puts your whatever the identity card data
Yeah.
chip thing, plugs it in. He types in a couple. You see him transfer some information. He goes, "There you go, man. Good luck." Like I said, don't sleep on these fools.
I'm not
If you
gonna.
understand who the poachers are, you can understand who the kind of people who associate them with.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Don't
you
be
keep your.
He's like one of the guys like, don't be launching mini rockets in the hallway, bro.
That was on me. You know me. I'm more sophisticated than that. But thanks for the
Oh
Seth.
man,
Thanks for the
take
heads
some
up, man.
driving lessons, yo. Take some driving lessons. As the door closes behind you.
I don't smack a man in his own house because that's disrespectful, you motherfucker, piece of shit. And I keep walking out.
And
Yeah.
it's the edge. And
Basically, the information goes to like a OneDrive thing on on the internet, and it's just for Kitty to pick it up and see it. Like heads up for me, right? I'm sure she has
Right.
like a bunch of little addresses like that
Yeah.
that she can erase at any
She
moment.
she even had some folder like important stuff.
Yeah.
Important
Alright.
stuff, slightly important
So,
stuff. Stuff
Yeah.
Hendra
as
keeps
this
sending me.
as this was all happening, we'll hop back to the apartment. And Henrik, you get another phone call. This is from Alestra.
What can happen this time? As I'm gonna pick up.
And so you see her pick up again, see her face again. She's obviously a lot more calm. Um, she's not as flustered as she goes, I've heard you. I take it you've seen the video.
Yes.
She goes, well, you're damn lucky that it was in an uncontrolled part of the city, or else the cops would be banging on your door right now. The only people that showed up was the fire department and a few medical services. So your name's not in it right now. It's just a bunch of innuendo and hearsay at this point. And honestly, most people don't care who gets blown up and outside the corporate zone. He
So,
goes, what happened? Why did you blow up that building?
well, I went to one of the building to talk with the kid that his mother got kidnapped and put into human trafficking, and I heard an explosion, and me and two of my guys came down. We just had the time to exit the building to see three or four SUV waiting for us, bulletproof and all. One even had like what is the word?
A rocket launcher?
Yes, a rocket launcher, and one of the car had even a turret on it. Well, not turret, but something to be able to use
I
to.
imagine at this point, didn't you say that you were going to give her a copy of your feed, or have you not done that yet?
Yes. I'm gonna send her to my point of view of when I
Well, yeah,
start.
actually, this is what we'll say, because part of the agreement you guys made was you were going to give her a copy of your feed. She was going to, splice it together to a nice story and then submit it for a review. She's going to explain to you that she knows all this. You're explaining to this. You're like, yeah, I know. I saw all your feed. He goes, as soon as I submitted the story, my editor killed it right away, and they went with the alternate
Uh,
coverage along with the promotional video by Deathbringer. He goes, all I can tell you is, the people who are supporting Deathbringer really have a vested interest in making sure that you're, you know, basically defraud, I don't even know what's the Swiss word. You know,
Oh,
they want to ruin.
right.
They want to ruin your name. Basically, they want to ruin your name.
Oh, that's not new. And well, since I try to not make any deal with the corporate, I guess when Dead Reading saw the chance with one of the corporate, they took it. So,
And what she explains to you is that the building that the explosion came from was a Ripper Doc. It was an illegal cyberware clinic that was basically paying protection to the poachers for obvious reasons, operating out of the facility. In exchange, they probably helped maintain the cyber weapons and the cyber implants for the poachers. And he did actually provide free medical services to the community. He just was a nice guy like that, and plus it helped protect his business from the having people on his side. And yeah, because of all the hoopla, he felt the spot was burned, and now he closed shop and left.
hmm.
And so she's basically like, well, listen, I see your feed. I believe what you're saying. There's a lot of forces arrayed against you right now, and I'm going to be completely honest with you. He's like, I'm not going to be able to submit another story unless you give me something really juicy. You got to save this kid's mom. You're going to have footage of you pulling this chick out of like a burning car or something, because they're not going to buy anything other than that. He goes, you know what? I like you. You got a lot of spirit. He goes, I'm going to do something that maybe other people in my profession wouldn't necessarily do, but let's see where this goes. She goes, give me a couple of hours and let me see if I can pull up some information that might help you with the situation out. He goes, I can't guarantee you anything, but let me see if I can pull up something that at least give you some headway.
Well, at least don't make something that could make you lose your job.
He goes, no. She goes, I don't like these guys. They screwed me over before, and I would love to for me to be able to put the knife in them and twist a little bit. So it's in my own personal interest. Plus, I don't like my stories being killed for stupid PR marketing BS.
Well, that's the corporate for you.
So right now, let's just say that your interest and my interest align in a lot more ways than anyone else's. So let's see what we can do for each other.
Oh, I'm always ready for the phone call if I'm still alive or not in the middle of a firefight.
All right, I understand. And she goes, right before she gets off, she goes, of course you know that means you're gonna owe me a huge favor.
I can understand.
And she hangs up the phone.
Oh,
I ca-
fuck's sake.
And at that point, Kitty informs you that she just got a message from Miguel saying that his quote unquote sources, he has quote unquote sources that could help help you out in your situation. Basically, the overview, he says, if we help these drug dealers out, then they can provide you the information for where this girl's being kept, or woman, not girl, woman.
Well, if nothing
So-
else, everyone does like you.
So they want us to do their dirty work in exchange for that information.
That seems to be the situation.
Given how well our last time out went, maybe a little help investigating could be worth it. I mean, we certainly are capable of destroying whatever problem they have.
Oh, that's what we do best. And oh, I guess we can wait. I have a bad feeling, like hmm, with what happened with how they knew that we were coming and the setup they made.
You get the impression from what Kyrie told you that as soon as you showed up, someone called up and said that you had showed up at this address. It wasn't like they were waiting for you. It just happened to be like, oh shit, I know somebody. And more than likely, those guys were probably coming, for all you know, to either give you an autograph or to try to kidnap you for ransom or something stupid, rob you or something stupid like that. They happened to get another call saying someone just blew up a Ripper Doc clinic, and they were like, oh, well, it's time to get it on.
Well, I guess if we're really worried eventually, we could always have Palencia actually keep a watch on things and Well, maybe try to rein him in a little bit.
Mhm.
So as you guys are discussing this, Henrik, you get a text message from Kyrie. And so Kyrie explains to you that he had to sneak out of his grandma's apartment complex
Oh,
because
fuck.
it's heavily corporately controlled. He explains that there are apparently curfews and all types of restrictions. There's actually like a uniform code, and he's basically like, "This sucks." I can't even like. There's not even like half the channels aren't even on TV. They're telling me I gotta start taking all these drugs because I'm an antisocial, and he goes, you kind of get the feeling like he's a little scared about what's going to happen. He goes, man, but I can't go back home at least until I find my mom. And he goes, I hope you're not BS like Deathbringer says, but I don't know how much more of this. He goes, I can put up with before I got to split. And he goes, that's all. He goes, I got to come back because if I'm gone for any length of period of time, it actually like announces the corporate security that I've left the facility.
Henrik is going to text back saying, for now, it's safer for you to stay with your grandmother. If she's really in a corporate section, you have more chance to be safe than where you were. I'm going to send you a text when we're going to find your mother.
And he goes, man, make it quick because this place is. He's like, I don't know, man. He goes, people walk around here like they're zombies. It's kind of creeping me out. You understand this, Henrik. This is very, very low income, kind of like pro bono housing that a lot of the corporations get into. And it's basically just a cover up for doing whatever corporate shenanigans. So a lot of these places are like it's almost like a prison in some of these places. And they're like heavily controlled and monitored. A lot of them have to take like, antidepressants and antipsychotics to keep them all placid. And it's a lot of really creepy 1984-esque type of environments in these kind of places because it's just all done for corporate control. And so this is not, even though you're right, he's not going to get hurt in this kind of place, but it's not the kind of place you want people spending a lot of time in.
Yeah, but with the circumstance, what is happening, the fact of the poacher, how well equipped they are, and they might not be like faced to attack a children. So as long that he is out there, carries could be in more problem than his mother. So.
That's certainly true. I'm just letting you know how he feels and what the situation is for him currently.
Anyway, I guess I come back to the apartment and somebody asked for some healing, so I'm gonna try to do my thing.
Okay. How does the healing work?
You make the medical roll. If it passes, you heal either at 0.5 for first aid or 1 for medtech a day. Which means, I think Kitty has, light 3? Which means 3 medtechs, because you got to make a roll every day.
Mm-hmm.
It'll take her 3 days to recover. And if you fail, which I doubt you will because you are a medtech, if you fail it and you don't get any medical attention, you actually take 2 damage that day.
Okay.
It's their way of saying like sepsis and infection and things.
I got that.
It's page 116, by the way, if you want to look it up.
Okay, awesome.
So when Miguel come back, Enrique is going to stay on the couch and he's just going to look back and say, so where is the place that your, quote unquote, friend want us to go? Where is the server and all that?
Yeah, he starts talking. He basically goes to where Kitty's at and basically lays her down on some kind of, like a sofa or something. It's like,
I have some nice furniture, so yeah.
Yeah. Well, whatever it is, he doesn't actually care for the furniture at all. So it's like just as long as he has a relatively clean place to work, he'll be fine. Unless you have like an actual bed, I can treat her, and otherwise.
She has,
Just lay me on top of the pile of Mountain Dew bottles. It'll be fine.
fuck's sake.
I said clean, so yeah. So he starts working. It's like, well, I got that info from my source. Basically, tonight, these guys are going to put their money basically in a crypto farm. They're gonna make the deal tomorrow. This guy has a lot of money, and if the deal goes sour, then that opens up an opportunity for someone else to come in and make trouble for these guys.
Where is that place?
It's in the, and I'm working on,
the data chip that you received
Mhm.
from your dealer explains that basically in a very, very inconspicuous tenant building in another part of town,
Mhm.
there is a gang called the Silent. This gang runs drugs, or at least part of their operation, through here. And so from what your dealer understands, there is a server on one of the floors of this building. There's a net runner, and he is basically running the digital currency portion of the drug operation. And so from his reading, or from at least from the intelligence that he received, once you gain physical access to the tenement building, you could probably plug into the network and try to identify where that server is. Net runner on different floors for security reasons. And so if you gain physical access to the server, you could hack it, or you could try to sabotage the entire building, hoping that out, or you could blow it up. But two options require you to actually physically find it. The third option would be you could just hack into it and fuck with it from that point. But you'd still have to gain physical access to the building and find a place to jack in and then do the hack.
Let's try to not blow up things for now.
Yes, that would be.
Wait, I thought we were protecting a deal. This sounds like we're trying to steal from the deal, right?
Well, Kitty, you know that you could either destroy the servers, through.
Well, I mean, like, what's the objective here?
Fuck with the server.
We're doing a favor for Miguel's friend because Miguel owes him one, is what I understood.
Right, and the specific favor is get
the thing
money.
is, the thing is, if you wreck the server one way or another, then the deal with the Reapers, right? Goes bad. It goes bad, and he's gonna have to look for other protection, and then my friend comes in and offers his services, and that lets him get into the system. Now, while they're fighting each other, we can, they're busy dealing with that. We can do some other things, and also probably going to find a lot of info on them as well as money. Which
and
is
like I said,
good.
your dealer says he knows the location where the poachers basically stash their slaves. So in exchange for that info, if you take care of this problem for him, he will gladly give you that information.
That guy's a piece of shit for real.
Oh well, he's a drug dealer. He's not. He's not. I never said he was a nice guy.
So,
at least I know I can do my part as long as I can get in there, but the rest would be dependent on what you think, Henrik.
Well, I guess the best way is...
you know what? For the sake of simplicity, Miguel, roll a med tech check to see if you can accelerate people's injuries. I will make it an average difficulty because it doesn't give me any clue as to what.
Maybe don't accelerate their injuries.
Injuries, yeah. The healing, I think.
I can do that. That's not hard. That's my job, in fact, is to accelerate injuries.
Yeah, I just understood what he said. But yeah, like Henrik is going to look at you, Kitty, and say, "Well, we need to send a message to the poacher in some way that we are not going to back down, even if they have the firepower. So we're going to go to that building. You're
How many
going
people are
to
injured right now?
just
I'm only injured by 3 light.
Okay. And no one else is injured.
I'm injured. I already first aided myself, which is 0.5 a day instead of 1 day.
Okay.
yeah, we're
Alright.
going to go to that building. You're going to enter the network, locate on which floor is the server, and me, Miguel, and Muerte, we're going to go in there and send a message.
Hmm.
And when that is finished, you're going to access the server, and you're going to send all the money they have in it to different charity and donation service.
Your usual selections?
Yeah, and maybe to new one for for some well, and the zone that we were in, but try to not send it to the one that corporate and debris interests made up.
Right, as long as it's not going straight to someone else's bank account.
Yeah, no, don't worry. It's all going. All the money that is in that server is all going to charity and donation. Because I know if we're keeping the money, they can easily track us down.
Lists of charities, that's not too hard to track down, just have a list of them to be transferred to you later, right?
Yep.
That was
By
a
the
DM
way,
question.
I made a roll already, so it should be up.
26. Okay, so Kitty, I mean, that's way above. Don't worry about it. You're now killing at 1 full point per day.
Yay.
Um, so, as you guys are planning this out and talking this out, get one final phone call, and it's Alestra.
I answer.
She goes, how are you feeling?
Would you believe me if I say I had worse? Want
She
to?
goes, well, you know what?
Hmm.
She goes, I might have something that might help you out a
Hmm.
lot. So I made a couple of phone calls, and what I discovered is there's a high level corporate operative who's going to be meeting with the poachers today in their quote unquote secret warehouse. That's all the information I got from that. But if you could find this guy and track him down, give you the clue that you're looking for. He goes, this guy's name, and I'll give you his name and description. I'll just say that she's also just providing you with like a dossier type of
Hmm.
information as you're talking. His name is Shad Jaden. She goes, listen, I gotta warn you, this guy, he's no joke. I've heard horror stories about this guy. I hear he's a monster. He only works with top end corporate executive types. So I wouldn't be trying to swing any axes at him if I were you. Get my drift?
Hmm. Yeah.
He's got a bunch of people that he calls the Cross Posse. And that's their name. And he goes, I know exactly where he's going to be later on this afternoon. Or tonight, I guess would be a better way of saying it. Later on tonight. So if you can find him and trail him, he might be able to take you exactly where you need to go. But if he catches you, he's like he only does he's like special forces type of dude from what I understood.
Well, the best thing right now is to not go because I will be honest. I don't think we can go there and trail him silently.
Well,
But
like I said, that's the only help I can give you. I mean,
well,
that's the only information I know. If you could,
it's kind of you to helping me out, even if that could bring you more trouble.
She goes, "There's no trouble for me at all right now." She goes, "What you do with this information might be trouble for me later on down the line."
Hmm.
He goes, "But I'm hoping that like we've been saying, like you sound like you're honest, so I'm going to take you at your word for right now."
Oh, we have kind of another operation tonight, but I will keep this guy in my mind because if I hear of him later or another day about something else, maybe I will have more of an opportunity to strike
Okay, well, like I said, I
because
just this is all this I said I'd help you,
hmm,
and
hmm,
this is what I got for you. So let me know. I'll
hmm.
be looking forward for your feed.
Yeah, no worries. Tonight there is might be another feed.
All right. Listen, I gotta go. I'm working on some other things right now, so I
Yeah,
gotta split. And then she
sure.
quickly just hangs up the phone. So there you have it. You have two choices right now. You can go after the Silent and see if you can hack into their server, or you can track down Shad Jaden and see if you can trail him and see where that takes you.
Fuck off. Oh, but yeah, I think we're going to go onto the server. It's gonna be it's gonna help us more because we're going to gain well, if we succeed, we're going to gain a lot of support from different charity uh, event and all that, and it's going to send we're going to put down some bastard and yeah and well I'm gonna ask to the guys what they want to do.
What was the alternative option of the server here? Tracking someone, tracing them?
Yeah,
Yes,
which
but from what Alestra has informed you, Henrik, is this guy is a serious corporate operative. This is not a normal street gang member. This is not some low level thug. This guy is a heavy
yeah,
hitter.
yeah, and
Subtlety doesn't strike me
well,
as our strength.
yeah, Enric will say, well, the other one is, a corporate guy. I think it's a corporate guy, a real psychopath. And,
I mean, if we didn't want to be subtle, then the corporate guy is the obvious guy to go after.
well,
Yeah, but the idea is
we
not to
need
take him out. The idea
yeah,
is
we
to
need to
follow
do,
him.
yeah.
Well, I can follow him right to the fucking grave.
I'm not sure that would get them the information they actually want.
And I think for tonight, well, with what happened on the TV, corporate will be under guard first, and they yeah, like they might be under guard, and the guy that Jad thing, he has his own spec up, like professional military dude. So those dude might even like guard him without us knowing.
Katie, you do a quick search for Shad Jaden, just as a general search,
Uh
and
huh.
he lists himself professionally as a security specialist consultant, and you see a long list of corporate jobs. He's worked for almost every major corporation. It doesn't quite say what he does. It just says that he's a specialist corp security expert, um, and it does list him as having military experience, although he seems to have spent most of his life in the corporate sector.
What's the
Um, he,
picture that comes up when you look for him?
Yeah, maybe knows him.
No.
let
I'm
me.
just wondering what the fairly obscene tattoo is on his upper lip, because I have an idea. I just want to know what it is.
Hmm.
And so, let me see if this token comes up. There he is. That's his token picture.
I don't see anything. I mean, I see the token. I don't see the tattoo that you listed specifically.
So,
It's boobies.
one of those where
No,
you pull
didn't
your
see
lip,
it. I thought maybe it was like
down.
a Hitler mustache tattoo or something, but that wasn't there. He had no tattoo there.
So, trust me, listen, it was really hard for me to find a portrait that wasn't like completely crazy looking.
Well,
so
I'm just asking what the tattoo is. All you have to do is tell me.
I guess the only way you're gonna find out is if you ever meet the dude.
He has no picture on his profile.
Has a very standard airbrushed, non-offensive corporate picture. Like, actually, I do have a picture of him.
Kitty the hacker can't come up with like a street camera view or something of the guy.
Let me see if I can actually get his token. No, not his token, but his picture to show up.
I'm sorry, Kitty. You're not a hacker. You're a net runner. We all know this.
You guys see that?
Right. No tattoo.
That's the picture that you see.
I'm disappointed.
Well, like I said, if you want to know what the tattoo is, you're gonna have to.
Guy literally has one interesting thing on his whole description, and I can't get information on it.
Well, you can make up whatever detail you want. What kind of obscene tattoo do you want him to have on his upper lip? Do you want him to have like a Hitler mustache tattoo on his
I don't
upper
know
lip?
that you would consider that obscene. That would just be a thing. That would be like, he's a white supremacist. Okay.
He's a really lousy mustache aficionado.
I mean, do you consider a swastika to be obscene or just, like, hateful? Because, like, dicks would be obscene, right? But why would you have a dick over your upper lip as a tattoo? That doesn't make any sense.
Hey, don't judge his life, okay? Tattoos are his. Especially the dick ones.
Like I said, Henrik, you got a choice. You can either try to trail the corporate solo, or you could try to take out the drug dealer's server.
We're going to take the drug dealer's server.
We could always try to do both.
That's also another possibility.
Let's split up, gang.
Yeah, we could split the party. I've never heard anything bad going that.
Oh no, yeah, it's not like it's not like a hardcore dogma of role-playing games. It only works in books. It never works in an actual tabletop RPG setting. I always find that ironic.
I'll solo the solo, and you guys can hack the thing. Gibson, whatever.
Yeah.
And so, Kitty.
Yes.
Based upon the information that you received, I mean, you don't need to do the typical library system search because he actually gave you the address of the building that the server is located on. So you just know that you need to just gain access to the building from your general search of that particular area. You're pretty sure you're going to have to get within a few floors of where the server is to be able to identify it.
Right. Anything they do otherwise is probably a front end that if it goes down, isn't going to hurt the server.
Oh yeah, so you could probably go in. You probably have to go into the building. You'll have to, you'll be able to determine what region of the building the server might be in, and then you'll just have to get close enough to it, like within 2 or 3 floors of it, to do the hack. Or once you identify what floor it's on, you could just go there, plug in directly, and do what you got to do.
Right. What's the building itself? Is this like an office or what?
It's a tenement. It's a it used to from your information, it used to be a corporate, now been abandoned and dilapidated, and now it's basically like a tenement building. So there are regular people mixed in here. The silent basically use they use an apartment building as their base of operations, so that
So we should be able to get pretty close at first, at the very least.
How many floors
is
is
there
the
a building?
building?
Yeah, is there a building that Morte could
How many floors is the building?
Yeah.
It's a 20-story building, at least a section of the building, because I won't get it. Obviously, being cyberpunk futuristic world, realistically, buildings would be like hundreds of stories tall, no matter what you.
Okay.
But we'll just say
Are
this
there
particular
buildings next to it?
due to the nature of where this part of the city, nothing's interconnected that way. You'd have to physically gain access to the building.
No, I'm saying are there buildings next to it?